Hey, what's up, Army? Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to share this space with me. I hope you're doing well. I really do. It's good to be back. Don't mind my voice I got going on. I'm getting over being sick. The last 2 weeks have been a whole thing. And like I said in my community post, I am excited to share with you what I've been working on, what I've been going through. I feel like there's something on my... Hi, baby. Yeah. So I'm not really sure where to start. Hopefully this message will be as streamlined and organized as possible. I do have some notes, some things that I didn't want to forget. But other than that, I'm just winging it. So today we're going to talk about if you feel like you are hung up on somebody, or you feel like there is someone that you can't get over, I have some things that might help you if you're willing to look at it, if you're willing to be honest with yourself, if you're willing to really look in the mirror and keep it really, really real with yourself, then this video is for you. And if you're not, then I don't know, I'll catch you on the next one, I guess. So Violet wants to say what's up, obviously. She never does this when I'm recording. But I just got home from work and I've been gone all day, and she's my shadow. She follows me everywhere. All right. So where do I start? I know that I have mentioned to you guys on more than one occasion, because it comes up in this like volcanic, eruptive way every once in a while. I know I have mentioned to you how there is somebody that I have not been able to forget about. There is somebody that I have not been able to get over. And is it my twin? Is it not my twin? I don't know, but I can't fucking forget this person, and I can't let it go. And this has been with me, honestly, for years. And when I look at where I've been going through this pattern of sad and mad, and then back into this fantasy, and then come out of the fantasy and go into sad and mad, and then back into the fantasy. And I know that I've made a video before about, oh my God, I'm at a place of acceptance. But anytime I thought I was at a place of acceptance, that fantasy, that dream, that hoping, wishing, wanting would just come back. And there's this prayer that I've been saying for a while, and I've come to this realization of the fault in this prayer. I've been saying this prayer where I've been saying, if this person is meant to be in my life, then clear the way for us to be together. And if this person is not meant to be in my life, excuse me, if this person is not meant to be in my life, then remove them from my energy. Let me tell you what's wrong with that prayer. Because for years I haven't gotten an answer. I haven't gotten one or the other. I haven't gotten this person in my life, and I haven't gotten them removed from my energy. And I'll tell you why. The thing is this person is meant to be in my life in the capacity that they are in my life, which is not at all, which is in total fantasy. They're meant to be there to teach me. And I was so convinced that if if this person was still in my energy, if I was still thinking about this person, that it must mean that we're meant to be together. It must mean that. But it's not one, or it's not this or that. It's not because they're on my mind and that means we're meant to be together. People come into our lives to teach us things, and it's up to us to differentiate the people who are meant to stay and the people who are meant to go. So, in answer to that first part of my prayer, this person was meant to be in my life to teach me, but I refused to see it that way because I wanted that end result. I wanted that end result more than anything, and I was living in denial, trying to force that. And then the flip side of that prayer is, if they're not meant to be in my life, which we just concluded that they are, to teach me something, if they're not meant to be in my life, then remove them from my energy. And that wasn't working either. And I see now that the reason that wasn't working either is because it's not up to the divine to do it for me. I have to do it. I have to say enough. I have to say no. I have to clear my own energy. I've spoken about this before, where we can pray for protection, right? But if we invite it in, that's our free will. We're inviting it in. You know what they say about vampires? They can only come in if you invite them in. Whenever this energy came knocking, whether it's from them or it's from me just wanting to fantasize about it, I never said no. Because the fantasy was so much softer and so much more, palpable? I always get it confused between palpable and palatable. Palpable. It was so much more palpable than the reality. But I got to a point roughly 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was probably just a week ago. Honestly, it was like last weekend. I got to this point, which, if you know anything about addiction or unhealthy habits, you know, they talk about being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's the point that I got to. I got to this point where I was just so exhausted with going from sad, mad fantasy, sad, mad fantasy, sad, mad fantasy. And I'm like, I cannot spend the rest of my life like this. I cannot spend the rest of my life waiting. I convinced myself I wasn't waiting, right? But I was still getting caught up in this fantasy, looking forward to, I would call it, instead of waiting, trying to manifest something, you know? And I had heard Abraham Hicks say one time, if you focus on somebody, if the universe can't bring you that person, they will bring you somebody like them. I've been focused on this fantasy of this person and coming across people in my life, guys giving me their phone number or hitting on me or whatever, and they're nothing like what I feel like I'm attracting. So how is that possible? It's possible because this person that I have placed on this fantastical pedestal is actually less like the fantasy I've created in my head and more like the men that I've been attracting into my life. And I refused to see that. And every time I attracted somebody that was not or less than what I was hoping for, instead of making the connection that I'm attracting what I'm focused on, instead of making that connection, I just raised this person higher up. I just made them more desirable, more unattainable, more, I don't know. Let me know if you guys can relate. I know that I'm not alone on this. So let me get into it, okay? So I had enough. I can't take this anymore. If this person is thinking about me as much as I'm thinking about them, you would think that they would be in my life. You would think that they would at least give me some kind of explanation. And I just kept making these excuses. There must be somebody that wants to keep us apart. There must be this, there must be that. I kept making all these excuses after excuses just to keep myself from facing the reality of the situation, just to keep myself from facing the pain I was refusing to face, facing the fears I was refusing to face, just to keep myself from feeling the pain of the idea that I will never be with this person. And I had to really get really real with myself. And not this past weekend, the weekend before, everything just hit me like a ton of bricks, because I just kept praying for help. I just kept praying for help. I just kept saying, I cannot live my life like this. I cannot keep doing this. I can't. Please help me. Please help me. And I got to this point where I ended up I was talking to my cousin, who's my absolute best friend, and she convinced me to download this app where you like send each other videos. So I downloaded the app and we were playing around with it on Saturday, and then Sunday morning I woke up and I felt this immense emotion. I had popped out of the fantasy and into the sadness and the madness and the disappointment, and I couldn't take it. I fell into this frustration again, and I'm like, I cannot stand doing this cycle anymore. I'm driving myself fucking insane. And I made a video to my cousin, and I just vomited everything that I was feeling, because there's just something that I didn't feel like I could talk about. Felt like if there were people that I could talk about that they would tell me just get over it, or I should be over it. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I don't understand why I'm not over it. And I just like I just let it all out in this video. It was probably like a 15-minute video where I just went off. And she had no idea I was dealing with this, because it's something that I've just been internalizing and ignoring, and I'm fine and I'm over it and it doesn't bother me, and fuck them and all of that. And I let it all out. And then I ended up having it. She called me after that, because I needed it. We could not video this, but it needed to be we needed to talk. And she called me and we talked about it, and I realized that I needed to make it less about I needed to stop making it about him and what he did and what he's not doing, and start making it about me and what I'm currently doing. I needed to figure it out. And I was telling her how, like, I go through these feelings where, like, I'm afraid to let go of this person. I'm afraid to turn my back. Like, what if I turn my back at the very moment that they were about to show up and now I ruined it? Or what if I say, you know what? Um, Stay over there. Like, fuck this shit. I'm done. The door is closed, regardless of what they're trying to do. The door is closed, and I close it right as they're about to get on the ark, and then I feel this guilt about being mad about the situation. I feel this guilt about expressing how I feel about what he's done, and stifling my own anger about the situation because I feel guilty. And I'm like, that's not normal. That's not love. Being afraid to express myself, being afraid to say you did this and that hurt, being like, I'm going against everything I tell other people to do. I am not taking my own advice. I am not practicing what I preach, because here I am, despite everything that I've learned and everything that I've shared with other people. Despite everything, here I am, afraid to scare someone off by being honest about how I feel. So in our conversation, she said to me, it kind of sounds a little bit like Stockholm syndrome, which in my research of narcissists and narcissistic abuse and how that affects you, I know that Stockholm syndrome can be a result of that. So I said, okay, let me start there. Let me just see if I can find some videos on Stockholm syndrome, so that I can, at least, if that's what's going on, I can heal that. And if I still can't get this person off my mind, then maybe, we'll just take it then another step further. We'll just see where it goes after that. So I did that, and I looked up Stockholm syndrome. And what I actually came across was something called limerence, limerence. And I just posted about an hour ago. I just posted a video on the community board about limerence. It's just an example, just one video that I watched on the subject. And what limerence is it's like a crush on steroids. It's like having a crush on somebody, but it turning into this obsessive thinking, this obsessive fantasizing. And limerence is a result of childhood trauma. I'm not a psychologist, but this is what I've learned. It's a result of childhood trauma where you make somebody the object of your affection, where you make somebody the one that's going to make you feel safe, the one that's going to make you feel complete, the one. And when I found that, I was like, now maybe we're getting somewhere. But again, I had to come to a level of honesty with myself. Is that what I'm doing? Could that be what I'm doing? Am I willing to let go of this cosmic fantasy of the reason why I can't let go of this person is because we're meant to be together? Am I willing to let go of that for a minute and just look at the possibility that I might be doing this? Lord knows I have had my share of childhood trauma. Could this be a result of that? So it made sense. It made sense. It didn't explain everything, okay? It didn't explain everything. It didn't explain, it didn't explain everything, but it was a crack in the case. Let's put it that way. It was a crack in the case. One of the things that didn't fit for me with limerence was, they say with limerence, eventually the bubble bursts. And the bubble for me seemed like it was made of steel. The bubble for me certainly seemed like it was made of steel. Like no matter what this person does, the bubble does not burst. And that's the part that I didn't understand. So here I have this thing called limerence, right? And on the other hand, I still have these weird feelings of guilt about standing up for myself. These weird feelings of making excuses for this person, of not wanting to let go. Why isn't this bubble bursting? Why is it? And I had to really keep digging. Like I had to keep digging and keep praying and keep digging. And what am I afraid of? What is this weird fear of standing up for myself? Where does that come from? And as I am asking myself these questions, I'm getting the answers. I saw this video from, I don't know if you know who James Vanderbeek is. He's from old school Dawson's Creek. And I have never come across his social media whatsoever, right? And I come across one of his videos. One of his videos pops up on my feed. I cannot remember if it was YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. I don't know. But I see this video, something tells me to click on it. And in this video, this man is talking very plainly where he says, listen, the problem, the solution lies within the problem. And he's sitting in front of his fireplace. It's like a wood-burning stove, not so much a fireplace, but like a wood-burning stove with a door and a glass window on the door. And he's got the door open. And he said, you see all this soot that's stuck on this glass. And he says, no matter what I've bought all kinds of cleaning products and bleach and all of these things to try and to clean the glass, to get the soot off the glass. He said that he's Googled stuff. He's tried all kinds of tricks and all kinds of things to fix it. And then one day he takes a paper towel, he dips it in some water, and then he dips it in the soot from the stove and wipes it on the glass. And that is what cleared the glass. Was the soot, the same soot that caused the film to build on the glass, is what clears the glass. And I saw this video and I was like, okay, I hear you, Spirit. I hear you. The solution is in the problem, but I wasn't getting it. I was like, okay, but I still don't understand. What, where is it? And there was another video that I came across that I was going to tell you, and now it's gone. Thank you, Spirit. So then later on that day, I saw this video about Jehovah's Witnesses. And without getting into too much detail, Jehovah's Witnesses are in a court battle currently in Norway. There are different countries that are taking away their religious status because of their disfellowshipping process, or policy, I should say. And So they recently got their religious status taken away from them in Norway, and they are suing the Norwegian government for removing their religious status. And the Norwegian government is essentially using Jehovah's Witnesses' own material against them, and they're using this video about disfellowshipping and what they do, because Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't want to say Jehovah's Witnesses, it's not the people, it's the organization. The organization is lying to the governments and saying that disfellowshipping is a person's choice and that they don't shun people and they don't do all these things, which is an absolute lie, because I've lived it. Anyway, so I watched this video that the Norwegian government is using in this lawsuit, and I've never seen the video. And the video talks about this woman, like in the beginning of the video, she's like, I'm so happy to be with my family. But then she talks about her life as a Jehovah's Witness, how she was born into the religion, and, you know, she got baptized. She was pressured when she was young to get baptized, and then it didn't fit right, and then she was disfellowshipped, and she was disfellowshipped for 15 years, and her parents ignored her, and it goes on, and eventually she, she wants her family back so bad that she ends up going back to the religion, which is the whole purpose of the shunning and the silent treatment and all of that. I mean, if you know anything about narcissists, about toxic behavior, if you know anything about that, the silent treatment is one of the most used tactics by toxic people to drive you insane. And I'm watching this video and I'm like, this is my life. And it just dawned on me, like it just made sense how every time I'm going through something like this, every time I'm trying, people are like, "Oh, maybe you can't let this person go because of your daddy issues." And it's like, it's not that. Because I feel like I've healed that. I feel like because I'm not out here. I've been single. Like, I'm not out here just being with people to fill a void like I used to. I'm not doing any of that. I've healed all of that. And I've always looked back at my childhood and said, well, is it a mommy issue? Is it a daddy issue? Is it this? Is it that? And I've never looked back at the religious aspect of what I was raised in. I've never looked back at what this God I was taught I was supposed to fear, what effect that actually had on me. I never looked at that. And it's like when I did that, all these pieces fit. This person knows that I am reaching out to them and they're not answering me on purpose. And instead of seeing it as the manipulation tactic that it is, I chose to make excuses for it. Instead of standing up for myself and saying, I'm not going to put up with this, I made excuses for it and sacrificed myself. What is the fear? Why do I have this fear to stand up for myself? And I have put this person on this godlike pedestal. This idea, if you know anything, once again, about toxic behavior or about narcissistic abuse, there's always a punishment for speaking your mind. There's always a punishment for standing up for yourself. There's always a punishment for asking questions, for questioning their behavior, for calling them out. God forbid. There's always a punishment. And I realized that I felt like I deserved this on some level. I kept going through this, convincing myself that I must have done something to mess it up. I must have done something so terrible to lose this person's respect, or to lose this person's affection, or to lose this person's focus. Like, what did I do that was so wrong? What did I do that was so wrong? I called them out on their behavior. And where I thought that maybe we could have an adult conversation about it, I was punished for it. I was verbally torn apart and humiliated for it. And this part of me, that childlike part of me that wanted so bad for him to be the one, took that punishment, took that blame and put it on myself, and said I must be the cause why we're not together. And I continued to make these excuses. And everything just shattered. Once I realized the real fear was to stand up to somebody that was mean and nasty and hurtful to me, for simply calling them out. That bubble that I was talking about, that steel bubble, once I decided to really just feel that, really just look at what it is. You know, there's a lot of people out there that talk about manifesting and imagining, and yes, imagination is the key to manifestation, but imagination does not change the here and now. And I couldn't understand why, no matter how much I imagined this person to be everything I ever wanted, they weren't. And it's because instead of facing my fear, and instead of facing what I needed to heal, instead of facing the wounding, I was trying to use my imagination as like this magic eraser. Imagination is a tool to manifest a different future timeline, but imagination does not. It's not an excuse or a tool to use to avoid your healing. Does that make sense? Because that's what I was doing. I was using my imagination to avoid feeling and healing what really happened, because I knew that if I faced it, then I would have to let them go. If I faced the reality of it and I looked at it and I said, this person has actually done X, Y, and Z to me. This is what really happened. For real, for real. They have done this. Then I would have to let go of that fantasy. Because anyone who does that to another human being does not deserve to be in my space. I used this fantasy to punish myself. It must be my fault. Look how great and magical and amazing I've created him to be. So for him to not want me, it must be my fault. God forbid, it's just he's not for me. I'm not saying that this is exactly what you're doing. All I'm saying is, if there is somebody that you can't let go of, consider the possibility that there is an area of fear that needs to be healed. That's why I posted that. That's another thing. I've been really reading, watching my old readings and realizing that spirit has been leaving me Easter eggs and breadcrumbs and keys all over the place, and I didn't see it. That this masculine that I thought I was saving, this masculine that I thought I was helping to stand up for themselves so that we can be together, was actually me. It was me needing to embody and empower the masculine within me to stand up for me. I'm waiting for somebody else to come in and validate me, and I needed to validate myself. I needed to stand firm in my own energy, my own masculine energy, and validate myself. Because this person has done nothing but gaslight me and try and tell me that I didn't experience what I experienced and I didn't see what I saw, and he didn't do what he did. But the reality is, it was all real, it was all true, and it all happened. And based on that, I need to be closing the door instead of inviting this person into my life. And coming to that. And that is how the solution is within the problem. The answers are within. We all know this. We hear it. We say it all the time. The answers are within, and they are. And like I said before, that's why I made that short. The fear points to what needs to be healed. It does. What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid to stand up to this person? I realized that I have guilt in enforcing boundaries. And I kept talking to me. I had a conversation with my son about it, and I said to him, I was like, but he was so mean. And he said, so what? And that was the realest fucking thing. I was choosing to stay in this hurt because I couldn't believe that somebody was so mean to me. But so what? I was still allowing him to keep me in this space. I was keeping myself in this space because I was in such shock of how mean he was. And I just kept talking about it. I kept talking about all the things that I haven't been talking about. And the more I talked about it, the more I was shown the answers. I have this woman, this spiritual woman that I go to, and once I realized that I'm dealing with some like deep-seated childhood wounding that I thought I healed, and it because obviously, me feeling guilty about setting boundaries is an issue. Excuse me. Me feeling guilty about setting boundaries is an issue. And I reached out to her and I told her, I don't know what I need. I don't know if I need a healing session. I don't know if I just need to talk about it. I don't know, but I need to heal this so that nobody has the power to do this to me again. And there's power in that alone. You know how they say, take 2 steps towards God and God will take 10 steps towards you, or something like that. You just got to make the effort. You just got to take those steps. You just got to move. And God will meet you. It's true. Are you actually sick and tired? Are you actually tired of being in this cycle, of being in this place of waiting and wishing and hoping? Reality is, if this other person was thinking about you as much as you're thinking about them, they'd be with you. And if they're not, that's just... And what if there is some situation that's holding them back? What if there is some valid excuse for them to not be with you? That's on them. All we can do is worry about our side of the street. And getting unstuck is so important. Getting unstuck is so important. If that person plans on meeting you, they gotta meet you where you are. It's time to let go. And like I said, going through all of this has shattered that bubble that I thought. And it's not to say that, oh, poof, I'm not thinking about this person anymore. I am. It's just on a different level and in a different capacity. Now I'm thinking about the reality of it and how I need to heal, and allowing myself to be mad if I need to be mad, and stand up for myself if I feel like I need to stand up for myself. For all I know, this person isn't even paying any fucking attention to me. But I'm still going to say what I feel like I need to say, so that I can work through that guilt, so I can work through that fear, and so I can heal myself. Because every time I stand up for myself, I know it'll be that much easier the next time I have to. And now I look at this person and I don't know what I was thinking. Now I look at this person and I see that it was the old me attracted to this person. It was the old me that needed this person. This person is not for me, and it's clear that this person is not for me. Maybe they decide to grow up, maybe they decide to change, maybe one day we're on the same page, but it's all clear. The illusion has been shattered, and this whole time I thought I was predicting it for this masculine, and I was just predicting my own awakening. And as heartbreaking as it was, I finally feel free. I finally feel like I can live, and there's room and freedom in my head to think about other things and other people, and to actually manifest somebody that matches me instead of trying to manifest some magical changed version of somebody that likes who they are, likes being the way they are. So that's what I've been through. Excuse me. I'm like choking. I don't even know if you noticed, but I'm like, that's what I've been through. So I'm just going to really break it down into 3 different things for you that I think will help you work through this, if that's what you're willing to do. If you can relate to what I'm saying, and you've had enough and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, I will tell you what will help you. Because I want other people to find their freedom. I'm not interested in keeping anybody stuck. So I got the when I was processing this and writing down these 3 things that you can do to help. Spirit gave me that phrase from Nanny McPhee. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Nanny McPhee. It's a classic as far as I'm concerned. But Nanny McPhee, she shows up as the nanny, and when she shows up, she's got warts and she's got all kinds of stuff, and the kids don't want to listen to her. They don't want to do anything. And then they grow to love her, and the more they love her and the more they learn from her, her face softens, her warts go away, and she's beautiful. And they want her to stay. And she says to them, when you need me but don't want me, I must stay. But when you want me and don't need me, when you want me but don't need me, I must go. This is what Spirit showed me. And it's in relation to fear. I'm going to read what I wrote down. When you need it but don't want it, it stays to teach you to release it and heal it. But if you try to hide behind it after you healed it, if you try to hide behind it after you heal it, it still goes. The universe will no longer give you examples of it or allow you to fall back into fear. The push to move forward will be relentless. And I want to go back to what I was saying before with that prayer. I don't think I explained the second part of the prayer where I said, if this person is not allowed to be in my life, remove them from my energy. It's very much like asking a parent to, you know what? Hold on a second. I wrote something down for that. And I'm going to read it. The prayer is a contradiction. Some people are meant to be in our lives for lessons. It was my assumption that it meant more than that. My assumption that it was meant to be more than it was meant to be. And the second part, remove them if they're not meant to be, is also a contradiction, because they're meant to be to teach me, and they can't be removed until I learn and remove them myself. Me asking God to remove it for me was my way of bypassing my own reality. It's like asking a parent to get rid of the monsters under the bed while I sit still with my eyes closed. They can do it for me, but the monster will keep coming back until I learn to face it and tell it to leave me alone. If you know anything about dealing with negative energy, you tell it to get the fuck out of your house. You need to tell it to get the fuck out of your house. And that's what this is. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. Crazy. The video paused at exactly 50:05. I fucking love that. I had to get my dinner out of the oven. So yeah. What was I saying? You have to tell negative energy to leave. And what is fear? What is fear? Whether you want to say it's, outside entities speaking to you. I believe that exists. Or it's coming from within you. It, as within, so without. So nothing can exist outside of you that doesn't already exist within you. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. Fear needs to be faced. And like I said, you can pray for protection. You can pray, remove this, remove this, remove this. But the power is within you. It has to come from you. If there's somebody who's abusing you and you need to stand up to them, you can have your cousin come and tell them off. You could have your mom come and tell them off. You could have your sister come and tell them off. Whatever. You could have a whole crew come and tell this motherfucker to leave you alone. But if you continue to invite them in, if you continue to enable them, if you continue to have conversation with them and not cut them out of your life, they're not going to stop. The power is within you, and the strength has to come from you. If you want something to stop in your life, you have to stop it. I've been caught in this limbo of either this person is going to validate me or somebody else has to know what he did. Somebody else has to know what he did, and they're going to come in and they're going to stand up for me. I cannot go back and forth. I don't know about you. I don't know what kind of space you're caught in or if you're caught in a space at all. I just could not with this back and forth, with waiting for someone and something outside of me to validate me so that I can move on. I needed to validate myself. I needed to stand up for myself. And that's why I've been posting the videos that I've been posting, because it's been important for me. And I figured if it's important for me, it's got to be important for one of you, at least one of you. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm going to talk about the 3 things. Okay. First of all, and I don't know if you're going to like this one, stop watching readings that feed fear-based or delusional false narratives. Stop watching readings that feed fear-based or delusional false narratives. These readings of, oh, they're leaving the karmic and they're coming to you. Oh, they're doing this and that. If you don't know what somebody else is doing in their life, leave it alone. This is about you and your journey. And it's very easy to get caught up in all of this outside focus. But it's about you and your journey. And if someone is meant to be on your journey with you, they will be. It's like that video that I posted on the community page. She said in the video, if God wants you to be with somebody, there's nothing you can do to stop it. And if God doesn't want you to be with someone, there's nothing you can do to change it. Write that down. Remember that. Stop romanticizing possessive, stalking behavior. Stop romanticizing possessive stalking behavior. Goes along with these readings. There's always a wealthy man watching you and he knows everything about you, and somehow nobody's creeped out by that. I might not be I have my own share of trauma and I'm discovering more and more about myself every day, but I'm pretty sure that healthy, stable-minded individuals don't go around stalking other people and prying into their lives and invading their privacy and learning everything else about another person before they have the courage to approach them. That is not love. That is not healthy. And is potentially very fucking dangerous. Let's keep it all the way real. Mentally stable, healthy people do not go around, once again, stalking other people. Their love is not possessive. And if you find yourself turned on by that, you got to ask yourself, why? Where is your unhealthy pattern that just is willing to open the door to someone who's been stalking you? Listen, I had to ask myself the question, so it's only fair that I tell you to ask yourself the question. If you know you need to let someone go, don't convince yourself you can't because of some cosmic reason. You can't let them go because you're refusing to face your fears behind letting them go. You can't let them go because you're refusing to face your fears behind letting them go. What is the fear? What is the worst thing that could happen if you just let go and stop torturing yourself? Number 2. These, I don't know, I numbered them, but they're really all in line with each other. Number 2, be honest with yourself, dig deep, pray for answers, and take genuine action towards finding them. Do your homework, do your research, discover yourself. What makes you tick? Don't pray for answers and then crawl back into fantasy waiting for them. Talk out what you're genuinely feeling. If you can't talk to anyone about it, talk to spirit and write it down. If you want freedom, if you really want freedom, you have to be willing to step out of the confines of your mind and allow others to give you their perspective and honest opinion. God works through people, and if you're not reaching out to people, God can't work to help you. Whether it be videos or books or friends, or the answers come through other people. And if you're not, or a therapist even, if you're not talking to other people, God can't work to help you. The divine is not going to come. And you got to talk about it, even if it is to your guides, even if it is to your ancestors, to God himself, whatever it is. It's got to be an honest conversation where you're willing to hear God's honest truth. Sitting in this cloud of fantasy is like sitting with your head in the sand. And the final point that I wrote down is just remember the answer is in the problem. The answer is in the problem. And it's not about them. Because I realized that it's not just romantic relationships, it's relationships in general that I feel this guilt in setting boundaries. Not to the extreme it used to be, mind you, because I've done the work. But it's like this is like that last piece. The last hook that I needed to free myself. What happens next? I don't know. Let me tell you something. I'm tired of trying to figure out what happens next. And I'm really focused on the present moment and facing the reality that I've been trying to avoid. And acknowledging that just because this person hasn't turned out to be the answer I thought they were, it doesn't mean that everything else isn't possible. It doesn't mean that I don't get to have what it is that I want in life. It just means I've been looking in the wrong place. I'm going to leave it at that. And if you're still with me, you are absolutely a real one. I know this was a long one and it wasn't a reading and it was just a whole lot of me talking, and thank you. And I hope you got at least something to help you. I hope my misery and my lessons have opened your eyes to something that maybe you need to work on yourself. We're all in this together, and I don't want to be stuck, and I don't want to keep you stuck. So I had to, or I don't want you to be stuck. I don't want to keep you stuck. If I'm stuck, then energetically in some way I'm keeping you stuck. If I'm still living in fantasy, then energetically somehow I'm still going to feed your fantasy, and I don't want to do that. Let's all be eyes wide open and bright and shiny and ready for an amazing, beautiful future. Let's all be about manifesting the beautiful people that we deserve and not staying stuck on the pain and the past and the wounding and the trauma. It's time to just really heal all of that in the healthiest, most honest way possible, because you are so beautiful. You're worth it. You deserve to be free. And I love you. I'll catch you guys on the next one.